even though you don't have the qualification, so we have to honor that on you. That one you don't apply, we will look for you, and then we give you. Then you see, we'll be having these programs. Some of them we've not succeeded in having them yet. These are visions that we have, that we should have these programs. So our intention is to have annual national geospatial report. Like the statistical area, they are able to work on the whole country, the economy and everything. That anytime government is preparing their budget, they look into that and then they go along with that. We want to influence government to look into our reports and then prepare their budgets and programs. And a lot of the agencies should also be looking into this report and be able to fashion whatever they are doing along that line. We are in the process of launching our journal. The journal itself, the conference proceedings, as you have a paper presentation, we are publishing that on our website as well. If you go to the website, the conference proceedings one is there now. So we want to have all of these presentations published so that people within academia can be able to reference it. You are working from industry, others want to also learn from each other. These papers will give opportunities for others to learn and then improve on whichever area they are working on. So as you are becoming members, we are expecting that you document what you are doing. It doesn't need to be a new innovation. Whatever you are doing, just document it. Then you can present technical presentation. You are telling us that I did this, I solved this problem. That's the technical paper will come and be presenting from tomorrow. So when you present it, then we say that, okay, we'll collect all of these things and we'll publish it at this section of our website so that others can also look at it and then use it to improve on whatever they are doing in their organizations. They can adopt it, they can modify it, whichever way it is. Then we are innovating in other ways. You don't need to be there physically to do that, but tell the story of what you did, the challenges you faced. Someone would also publish another one to improve upon it. Then you take it and improve upon it at your workplace. So now we are inviting you to publish papers. This is what it means. Just look at the things you solved or how you did certain things in your organizations. Write some 10 or 5 pages about it. Bring it, tell us about it. Others will tell you, oh, you could have done it better this way. You can, or take this out, which will make it work better. Then at the end of the day, that innovation we are talking about will be coming out. Then we are also expecting to be having annual geospatial hackathon. We want to have small app developers within us. Let's get that competition amongst ourselves to inspire us to go up. If there's competition, it pushes us to go up. And within this, once you are able to come up with those innovative solutions, a lot of organizations likely might buy it, they might poach you, they might recruit you. So we want to create that platform and tell everyone that yes, we have this kind of talents among us. Then the institutions should see it and we want them to push and then implement these things and use the ideas that we have. Then we'll be expecting to also be having geospatial research and industry festival. Like we are having here, you see it's a form of research and industry. We've come together. So whatever we are doing, we want to present it for a lot more people to see it and improve on whatever they'll be doing within their organization. As the Geospatial Society, we have, it is structured to have the council, where we have a number of people coming there from the various working groups, like I said. So we have 4 working groups now. We had 7, but we've collapsed it to 4. So we are having the executives on council, then some number of council committees also, as listed on the left-hand side. So we have that plenty number of committees. That's membership committee that dealt with your applications and the processing of your application. In future, those coming after you will be writing exams. Some will be having only interview. Some will be granted some exemptions based on certain criteria that has been set. We have the CPD and Education Committee. You'll be hearing a lot about them on our social media platform, who have been educating us so much about various geospatial tools and then technologies that we'll be using. Then we have the Legal Ethics and Professional Practice Committee. So as you are working and there are issues, ethical issues, or anything that will bother on the professional practice, it may be referred to that area for us to deal with it amicably to help us to grow better professionally. We have the ICT and Social Media Committee. We've been hearing a lot about them. They've been making noise on all the social media platforms. We also have the Conference and Programs Committee, who have put together all of the things we are doing right now. We also have the Partnership and Special Business Committee. They have been seriously writing business proposals and things to other organizations to see how we can help them in various ways. We have the Welfare Committee, who is working on our welfare bylaws for us to see how we can support ourselves in various needs. We have the Finance Committee, as well looks at the monies we pay, dues, and all of these things we pay. Then we have the Journal and Publication Committee, who work on the papers that were submitted and are getting it published on our website as well. Then, yes. So I also say yes, and we also plan to have the student chapter, as I did mention, and out of that, we want to have spatial thinking clubs. Student chapter at the universities, the tertiary level, spatial thinking clubs at the basic level, JHS, SHS level, where we introduce them to thinking with location, using GIS, using the GPS, a little bit of drone, so that when they grow, they should understand whatever it is to be a geospecialist. And probably they may join us. If they don't join us, they should still use our tools, and then they should still promote whatever product will be coming out with. They must understand. Once we get them informed early, it becomes easier for us to deal with that issue in future. So these are the executives. So the president, the vice, he just took leave of us a moment ago. That's Professor Larry. Our secretary, Lily. Our financial secretary, Louis, he's at the back there. Then our publicity officer, he will be here tomorrow. He has some emergency. So, yes, this is about the Ghana Geospatial Society. Yes, so we say everything we do here is about location. You can apply it to anything, but just remember, whatever you do ethically is about location, and you must do it right. And as you are becoming members, yes, we also have our ethics also on our website. I'm sure you've read it, the ethics bylaws on the website. We want you to be abreast with it. It is not a straitjacket thing. It is just telling you how you work with each other, how you work in an organization, how you work on contracts, whether you are working in an organization, you are getting another contract elsewhere, whatever you do, how you do it. But there's no straitjacket on it, so that you don't end up offending your employer, you don't offend your colleague, and you don't get cheated when you get to do all of these things. So let's get ourselves educated about that as much as possible, so that we work professionally and ethically. Otherwise, when issues are brought, we would have to be very fair. Whoever is bringing the issue, you have to be fair with that person, whether it is you or an outsider. And if we want the axe to fall on you, we would have to do that.
We're traders. It's in our DNA to make bold.
Everybody who is a member At the end of the year, when we finish, we will register you the Register of Companies or the professional body. There's an office there, and your details are there. You commit any ethical issue, any criminal issue, they will trace it back to us. And if they trace it back to us, we would have to take action and report it back to them. So as we would give you the membership, remember, wherever you go, you must hold that high standard. Today I may be president, tomorrow I will not be president. And I also need to be ethically right. Because at the end of the day, if I go wrong, you must also hold me before the ethical committee and deal with it. There shouldn't be favoritism, whether it is me or Dr. Kwe or anybody. No, it should not be like that. We should say that this is the profession we have and we hold it in high esteem. Now, so with this, we have a number of people that applied to be members of the Ghana Geospatial Society. The applications were reviewed, and there were some that were rejected. So I think a lot of people were thinking that you apply and automatic, you become a member. Some were rejected, some are still being reviewed. Some are doctors, some are professors, and their applications are rejected. And they call appeal. But then the criteria we use, we still have to be strict by it, because it's a professional body and we need to be honest with ourselves. If you are not practicing, if you don't have a certificate within the geospatial field, you cannot be with us. Some apply, and then someone applied even, I saw an application yesterday, the person snapped something, hospitality certificate, and put it in the application, thinking that it will go through. And the stages of approval, the membership committee approves. It comes to us. I also look at it. If he makes a mistake and accepts you, I reject you. If I accept you and I also did not review well, he will reject you. There's a query in the system. So all you have to do is query you, and it moves your application out of the trail, and we would have to talk to you over and over again. If you cannot provide any certificate or CV proving that you work in the area, we advise you either you go back and learn, get the requisite requirements, and apply again. So you may think that, yes, you are not writing exams now, but it doesn't mean that you're not going through the process. I went through it with one person who was applying, he was uploading everything yesterday online. After we came to the venue to prepare, he said, hey, so this is all, you have to look at all of these things. You have to submit CV, you have to submit this, you have to submit that. And I said, yes, and we read all of them to make sure that you have met the criteria we have set. So don't feel that, yes, because you've not written an exams, so we've not assessed you. We assess you based on the document you've submitted, and when you are not sure, we reject you. And that should tell you at least we go through certain processes, but we are going to put another level on that process as we move forward. At the back of this, I invite all the newly admitted members to rise, whilst we would want to accept each of you. So I'll mention each of you, the names I have here. I know some are online. Those online, please, you turn on your camera so that we see that you are with us. We permitted you to join us online, not that you should go and sleep and then let the device just be watching us. So we'll be checking if you are really there before we would issue your certificate to you.
Oh, you have.
So on the list, I have Mausi Mutapa. Thank you. Sharon Bonsu. I see the account online. Yes, I can see your face, Sharon. Francis, and please keep your camera on because when we are taking the picture, we want to see that you are with us. Francis, are you here? Online. Okay, I can see you online. Kate Aqua. I think I saw you. Yes, you are here. Felix Paddy. Okay. Bernard Jesse Abrokwa. Dorcas Nansen. Kweku Ejari Osuasari. Kweku Ejari Osuasari. Are you online? Okay, so we flag it so that later I can make it with us before you. Samuel Osei Osafo. Samuel Osei Kofi Osafo. Louis, please take note of the names that we can see. Kweku Ejari, we can see him. And then Samuel Osei Kofi Osafo, we can see him. Samuel Wakowa. We can see him as well. Vincent Kwashi Ahedo. We can't find him. Gilbert Kobla Kwashi. Gilbert Kobla Kwashi. We can see him online as well. Caesar Ada. We can see him as well. Leslie Azuma. We can find him as well. Do we please take note? Noah Kwame Madison. Noah Kwame Madison. We can find him as well. Ebenezer Tete. We can find him as well. Prince Kofi Fosu Odro. Prince Kofi Fosu Odro. We can find him. Ismail Ategu. We can't find him. Mautonam. Okay, he's here. So don't touch his eyes. Lawrence J. John Kwesi Behebe. Lawrence Kwesi Adipa. Lawrence Kwesi Adipa is not here. Pearl Della Ahiapo. She's here. Valentine Adosu Anaba. It's not here. It's not online. Michael Blanc Kujo is here. Kwesi Ata Mpong is here. Ivan's Wisdom Kobla Abba. Yes, I see. Semevi Sedof Bernard. Okay, he's here. Christopher Atta Concern. Christopher Atta is online. Kweku Al-Hassan. Kweku Al-Hassan is not here. It's not online. Cyril Kadagaku. Cyril Kadagaku is not here. It's not online. Isaac Selassie. Yes. Augustine, Derry, Zuta. Yes, yes. Ephraim, Ata, Usu. Yes. Fabian, Sobila, Atum, Tibri. Fabian, Sobila, Atum, Tibri. It's not online, it's not here. Abdul Rahman, Bomb. It's not here, it's not online. Priscilla, Barasu. Thank you. She's here. France, Alex, Gizi, a selfie. France. Present. Good. All right. Andy Kankam. All right. He's here. Abdul Manaf Awa. Abdul Manaf Awa. So these are the members who have passed and are present for the induction. The others will have their induction later, even though they will be admitted. Add them to another batch. That they come and have it later, or you add them to the next batch. So these who are here with us, you didn't hear your name. Please, Gordon. A Sylvie. Some of you were paying us at last night, and then you are not here, and you were looking for who said it's Sunday. Okay. Because I remember the chairman was always confirming one by one, and did not get response from some of them. I was also quietly watching everything. Yes. Your name is not there. Wait, you are Gordon.
Yes.
Gordon.
G-O-R-D-O.
And Gordon what?
A-S-H-I-R-I-F-I-E.
G-O-R-D-O-N. I had an assignment.
A-S-H-I-R-I-F-I-E.
I-F-R-I. Okay. And then
my name is Edward Dankwa.
Okay.
Edward Dankwa.
Edward Dankwa. Okay. So the two of you, yes, will induct you provisionally. I would have to go and confirm that your details are there, and then print your certificate. You get it. Because I don't. If it is here, I'll give it to you. If it's not, you need to be printed. Yes, you are also Ransford Kwame Techi. Okay. So you are in the same category, so we induct you provisionally. We need to be sure that the name you are saying is actually your details are there, your certificate is there, everything is there. Then we proceed from there. So please, you need to be patient with us afterwards. You need to go through that process. So now we would want to take the induction, the swearing of oath. Those online, the inductees, please turn on your camera. Whilst we all take the Sharon and the other ones who responded online. Now we want to see that you are here with us. The oath is what they swear to say that you are a member here. Without the oath, you see, you go through the process. You are not part of us. If anything happens, you tell us that they don't give you membership. So you are not part of us. You see. Until you take that oath, you are not here. You can be on all our platforms, but we don't. So are you on the page? Do you have the book? Okay. So when I say I, so I solemnly pledge my allegiance to the principles of the Ghana Geospatial Society. Committing to upholding the highest standards of ethics. And professionalism. In my geospatial presence. Recognizing the pivotal role of geospatial science and technology. In our society. I vow to utilize my knowledge for the betterment of Ghana and the global community. As a dedicated member, I will actively contribute to the advancement of geospatial science and technology, fostering collaboration, innovation, and knowledge sharing within the Ghana Geospatial Society. I commit to respecting the rights and contributions of fellow members, promoting excellence and addressing societal challenges through the responsible application of geospatial expertise. This oath signifies my dedication to the values of the society, guiding me to be a conscientious and active participant in the geospatial community, working towards the common. Can you please give them a round of applause? So now we would present the certificate
online here.
to our members. So that we don't take too much time, I would mention the list just according to what is in my hand, not by what is stated in the book. She mentioned you do us the honor, and then we should want the person to come to the picture. So that Yes, so Dr. Pei would assist us.
Yes, so GS Advance Wisdom Kobla Abba. Let's give him an applause. GS Wesiata Ampo.
You can have your seat when we call you, then you can. The cameraman can focus.
GS Michael Land. Let's give him an applause. GS Valentine Adosu Anaba. GS Peldela Ahia. Let's give it to her. GS Lawrence. GS Lawrence Jacob. See the head. GS Andy Mautanam. GS Ismaila Taylor. GS Prince Kofi Oduro. GS Ebenezer Tete. GS Noah Madison. GS Leslie Asuma. GS Caesar Ada. GS Vincent Kwashi Ahedo. GS Simon Braco Akowua. GS Samuel Osei Kofi Osafo. GS Kweku Ejari Owusu Asare. GS Docas Mensa. GS Bernard JC Abrokwa. Let's give it to them. GS Felix Kwesi Paddy. GS Kate Aqua. GS Francis Ayerizimi Akunyagri. Akunyagra.
Here. I'm online.
Oh, online. I crucified your name, eh? Don't mind me. GS Sharon Bonsu.
Yes, you crucified it. Murdered it.
She's online.
GS Zita Mausi Otapa. GS Samevi Sedolf Bernard. Hey. GS Christopher Ata Amponsa.
Yeah, online.
Okay.
GS Kweku Alasan. GS Samuel Osa. GS Abdel Manaf Awal. GS Andy Kankam Apau. GS Franz Alex Gazy Eselfi. GS Ephraim Atta Owusu. GS Priscilla Etonam Barasu. Let's give it to them. GS Abdel Rahman Bom. GS Fabian and Sobila Abuntibiri. GS Augustine Derry Zuta. GS Isaac Selassie Todo. GS Cyril Gadegbeku. Thank you.
Those additional people, I wrote their names.
Okay.
So GS Gordon is Sirifi. Please come. We provisionally give you. But we'll take our thing back afterwards. So the actual one comes. You need to snap pictures. So.
GS Edward Dankwa.
Yeah, that's all.
Last but not the least, GS Ransford Kwame Techi. Let's give it to them. Thank you, Chairman. Congratulations to all of you. When we go for lunch by 2:45, we should be seated for the next session. Before lunch, we'll take group photograph of the inductees and the dignitaries. and then we go for lunch. So after lunch, by 2:30 latest, we should be seated for the next session. On that note, I'll call upon GS Ketakwa to give us the vote of thanks. Let's welcome her with an applause.
On behalf of all the new Jew specialists, I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to the Ghana Geospatial Association for welcoming us into this essential community. We are honored to join the ranks of dedicated professionals who are passionate about advancing the field of geospatial science in Ghana. We say a big thank you to all of you. And to our sponsors, we say thank you, AICO, for sponsoring us. Thank you.
So shall we come up? The newly inducted members, can we come join the dignitaries for the group photograph? Cameraman.
Dr. Na Dede. Dr. Na, you join us for the picture. Samuel Jikunu, please. And then George Osu, please you join us for the pictures.
Cameraman. So can we have some of you up? Thank you. So we'll move to where we had the snack to take our lunch. So let's move to where we had a snack to take our lunch. Remember, we are coming back at 2:30. At 2:30, we should be seated to continue with the program. Thank you all.
Filmmaking, photography.
even though they are too small for me. So we want to start the next session, even though we are waiting. Online who would also be contributing. So this afternoon I'll be your moderator as well. Online we have Crime Dresen, and we would introduce him later, and he will turn on his mic and he will speak to us. But I would love to invite one special person in our midst to join us online. A second, this other person is calling me here too. Hello, Richard. Yes, you are ready. Where are you? Okay, all right, back and come in. Thank you. The crime is online. Yes, it's online. Sorry for hearing what I was saying. He was checking out on all the panelists who are supposed to be here. So he's parking his car. He'll join us in a moment. But as he's parking and joining us, I would want to introduce one of the panelists. He is one special person among us. And I think you can identify who he is, though. But he is the ambassador of Denmark to Ghana. He's been supporting a lot of agencies in different ways, and I will not need to go too much deep into that. I just want to invite Tom Noring to join us up here and take his seat. Go that way and you climb up. Yes, please. Yes. The other person who will be joining us, yes, is Dr. Richard Appiah-Otu. He is Chief Manager Operations in Ghana Water Limited, now not called Ghana Water Company Limited. We have changed our name. So we are now Ghana Water Limited. We have removed the company. So he is parking his car. He will join us very soon. And then we would have a lot of interesting interaction. He is currently the Chief Manager Operations. He was the Chief Manager Technology Innovations, which includes GIS, what we call non-revenue water, water loss, water that is lost that we are looking for. Then metering and instrumentation. And he was ahead when he started with a lot of innovations within the organization. And he's also been in a lot of partnerships with various agencies. And we thought it wise to have him as part of the panelists with us today. He should be in, I'm sure, in a few seconds, since he's parking his car and walking to join us. Then online we have Crime Dresen. He is the project manager, Waterworks Ghana. Waterworks is, we have 10 Dutch utilities who have put together their funds to support the utilities across the country, across the world. And one of the countries that happen to benefit from that is Ghana. And he is supporting, or they are supporting Ghana Water in various ways as well. They supported us in a lot of initiatives, and along the line, Ghana Geospatial also happened to sign an MOU, which got some of our professionals coming in and helping to train the officers in Ghana Water in some geospatial activities. So crime can you turn on your camera so that we see your face? Let's see those online, please. So that we see.
I have
Crime.
already turned on my...
Okay, good. Yes, Crime. So please, we want to see the online. Yes, you can take off the poster so that we will see him. Okay, good. So, I am Michael Nyuagbe, the president of Ghana Geospatial Society, and I'm your moderator for this session. You not clap for me. Thank you for clapping for me. Good. So you are all welcome to our interesting session. As I did the introduction earlier, you know, those we just inducted, we told you about our collaborations, our partnerships, how we can get business opportunities for our members, how we can get our members trained in various ways, probably some in the educational sector get some support to get some equipment and all of that. We want to now extend this discussion beyond just the partnerships that benefited a few people. How would the larger society benefit? We know our members belong to various organizations, and if one organization like Ghana Water has benefited in a way, others probably are looking at ways they could benefit. So the conference, those who planned the conference came up with a theme on the partnerships, how we can all benefit from these partnerships. And we want to have this discussion, but if we are having the discussion, it will just be two people talking. But now we want to talk to the embassy, the ambassador from the embassy, Crime, who is from the Waterworks, who is waving us right now, and then Dr. Richard Apiautu, who will join us. So we want to know their perspectives on these partnerships. So I want to start first, maybe with Tom. I'll use the first name so that it will not be too long to mention. So Tom is ambassador to Denmark, that I mentioned to you. So maybe you can share with us insights on promoting the partnership and business opportunities between Ghana and Denmark. We did a little bit of investigation before you came here, and then we realized that there was a company, LA34, who even did a CPD with us, and they even had a partnership with one of our member companies. Something like that. There was that kind of partnerships that you were able to have with us. I know probably there will be a lot of organizations like that that you have partnerships with. So this is the Geospatial Society, the others online who are also listening to us. So something like that, how did it come up? How do you get these partnerships to come up to benefit our members? One that is here, and then we would also learn a little bit from it. So your microphone is beside you. Richard, you're welcome.
I just heard that Richard still, after last night, has jet lag. So maybe that's hard to park a car when you have jet lag. Although I also know Richard very well. I know his car is a very smart car. It can do it all by itself. Thank you very much for inviting me. Sometimes I feel at ease when I go into a conference and have to speak, when I know the topic. But I had to work a little bit with myself and my own knowledge coming here, or when I heard about I was coming here, to find out exactly what is it you guys do, what is it geospatial technology really is. And I won't say I became an expert, but then I was, my mind was eased when my colleague at the embassy told me, you'll just talk about partnerships. So you don't have to worry about the technology and all the things behind it. that helped a little bit. So thank you, Linda, for that. Partnerships have become a key word, I think, in Danish foreign policy over the last years. And I think it makes sense. When you are a huge country, maybe, let's just take the one that had an election very recently from where you just came, maybe partnerships don't seem that important. But when you are a small country, in my case, I represent a country, Denmark, of less than 5.8 million people, you understand very clearly from day one that you cannot live in isolation, that you cannot function in isolation. You need to build strong partnerships. It's a realization that I think in our case has taken several centuries to reach that knowledge, that understanding that partnerships is what it's all about. Also, and maybe this is where Denmark definitely differs from a country like Ghana, I come from a country that is not only smaller with few people, but we have next to no natural resources. Oh. So what is it that makes a country up there in the north where it's half the year very, very cold and not necessarily hospitable, what makes us tick, what makes us work? How can we at all survive? And I think that is again through partnerships. It goes historically way back when we started trading. We simply had to find a way. We did have some agricultural products, some fish and a few things, and started trading and building up our society. Today, I think we realize that our biggest resource is not the one that we're stepping on every day that's in the ground. It is ourselves, it's the people. And the people have become the key resource of our society. There's also a very, very strong focus on education, and not just educating the children. That goes without saying, we all have to do that. But having a very, very strong focus on lifelong learning. That means we keep educating. Whatever we do, we keep educating ourselves in whatever field we're working. So it's just a few words by way of introduction. I found myself here in Ghana 4 years ago and started up building my own, of course, partnerships, but also looking at the partnerships that we at the Danish Embassy had built up in different ways before I arrived. And I found a very, very clear need to continue along that path, not least because we had to change our partnerships in a way, because in the past, Denmark was engaged in Ghana as one of the key development aid partners. We were, although a small country, as I said, of 5.8 billion people, we were in fact over 30 years one of the largest donors in Ghana. So in that sense, we had lots of partnerships based on Denmark bringing in resources to Ghana in the value of 2 to 4 to 500 million Ghana cedis a year over all these years, so it ran into the billions. Of course we had partnerships, but in 2020 we took a decision, well, we took the decision a little before, but we decided to phase out our development assistance to Ghana in 2020. So we went from these 2 to 500 million Ghana cedis a year to, in principle, no development aid. We did that not as a decision we took in splendid isolation, but a decision we took in dialogue with the Ghana government, based on the fact that Ghana had economically moved to become a lower middle income country, globally speaking, And Ghana had a government who decided very clearly to be on a new path and had a policy saying Ghana Beyond Aid. So in that space, we decided in dialogue with your government here to phase out our development aid. But we haven't, just two things I'd like to say. First of all, it doesn't mean that Denmark has decided not to be in solidarity with the rest of the world. We're still globally a strong development partner. There's only 5 countries, as I see it right now, who actually live up to United Nations goal of delivering 0.7% of our GDP in development aid. There's only 5 countries in the world. Denmark is one of them. Yes, we're not doing that in Ghana anymore directly, but indirectly we are, because about half of our development aid is delivered through the international organizations, through the United Nations. So although invisible in a sense, we're still here through the UN agencies, for instance. We're also here as a member of the European Union, and I think some of you may know, the European Union is the largest donor on the African continent. It's the largest donor in Ghana. And that's based on EU money, but EU is not a country. EU doesn't have its own money, so it's member states' money again that is coming into play, and only those member states that are what we call net contributors to the EU. So EU is built up by different economies, strong and weak, and some are not contributing very much to the EU budget, others a lot. We are amongst the latter. So just to say we're still here in that sense. But that, of course, in some ways is invisible. So in order to still be relevant and play our role, we have focused very much on new partnerships. We already started that before we phased out, but to have let's say, have a path in front of us. We developed, and we've done that in other countries as well, what we call strategic sector cooperation in a number of areas, and in Ghana in 4 specific areas. In water, this is why I know Richard a little bit. In the maritime sector, statistics, and finally meteorology. This is a kind of cooperation that is based on peer-to-peer or expert cooperation amongst people working in specific sectors. In the water sector, for instance, is between the 2nd largest city of Denmark, Aarhus, and their water utility, together with TEMA, Metropolitan Assembly, and Ghana Water Limited. In maritime, it's the Ghana Maritime Authority and the Danish Maritime Authority. Statistics is Ghana Statistical Service and Denmark Statistics, and so on. This has been proven to be a very, very valuable partnership, because it's a partnership where each brings in their best people, looking each other in the eyes and saying, what can we jointly do together that will enhance our organizations, our sectors? Where can we bring in most know-how, knowledge transfer to build up, for instance, in the case of water, and Richard knows a lot more about that than I do, but I think we brought in a lot of technological solutions and ways of working through these partnerships that has an incredible value, and it simply comes from bringing together the experts in Denmark together with the experts here in Ghana. So that is something I would like to say is something we have been focusing on and will continue to do so. We're doing the same in principle in the commercial sector, in the commercial area, because the other thing we said, we call it when you hear say Ghana Beyond Aid, we kind of picked up on that and we said from aid to trade, and we focused very much on bringing in relevant Danish companies to Ghana, companies that actually have something to contribute with in Ghana, and working not only maybe it is finding partners, Ghanaian companies to partner up with, but very often also working with the public sector in a public-private relationship, trying to find relevant public partners that indeed can make use of the knowledge and know-how technology that we have in Denmark through our private sector partners. And there again, building up very, very close relations between partners, although they be, in this case, Danish companies, that means business people coming down here, but meeting up with public sector experts. I think that's the kind of approach we've had to partnerships, and part of the value and benefit of partnerships that we also introduce now even more in our foreign service, as we developed, or our government developed a African strategy, a new African strategy, which focuses on engaging in a better, more open, more respectful way between Denmark and countries abroad and along the African continent. And one of the key components has been already based on the lessons learned from these strategic sector corporations, that this is one of the ways we want to go in the future, build that instrument even more, because we've seen the value of it, not only here in Ghana, but other places in Africa and in Asia as well. But it's also focusing on business-to-business, commercial cooperation. And maybe just one step back, one key word, and I read your program here, and I think your speech, and there was another speech, and one word that always pops up, it has to pop up these days, is sustainability. Everything we have to do has to be sustainable. We talk a lot about it when we talk about development cooperation and sustainability. But one thing that I have thought about over the last 4 years is when we build up strong commercial partnerships, business partnerships with partners here in Ghana, it's maybe, just maybe, and I may say something I shouldn't even say for my own bosses back home, but it's maybe one of the most sustainable solutions you can find. Because this is where you bring in partners on both sides that have to bring something to the table. That means you have a totally different commitment because you invest yourself. It's two partners that invest in a joint project, in a joint program, in a sector. You don't want to lose your investment. So I think in some ways, although we talk about sustainability very much as a development aid concept, maybe it's really substantially, maybe not most important, but equally important when we talk about cooperation within companies and public-private sector. So we support very much Danish businesses coming here and developing these partnerships. We see that, although we are government, we see that as a key function of our work to actually bring companies that are relevant here and to build up partnerships with Ghanaian authorities and private sector. And I can say just last night I had people here from a Danish company sitting at dinner at my house with 4 different Ghanaian agencies in different sectors, all of them in different ways benefiting from starting up cooperation with this, in this case, a digitalization company. So that's, I think, what I could say in general on this, building strong partnerships, and I believe win-win partnerships is really what drives us into the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tom. I would want to go online to Crine first before I come back to Richard to give his opening remarks. So Crine, how does the Waterworks program leverage partnerships to achieve its goals? I don't know if you can give us some insight on that.
Yeah. Well, first I want to resonate what the Ambassador Tom Noring has said. Even though the Netherlands is 3 times larger than Denmark. We also have a little bit of a Calimero syndrome, that we believe that we are small and we can only survive when we can trade and do business with others. So the Netherlands is very much a trading nation. You can see that reflected is, probably everybody knows KLM, the airline, but we have one of the largest ports where I think about 60% of the cacao in Ghana is being transported. So partnerships is very important. Now, I come from the water sector. It's another important mouse or industry in the Netherlands because 1/3 of our country is below sea level. Now, that meant that what Tom Nuring said, that we as a nation have agreed to spend 0.7% on domestic aid, and the water sector has embraced that. So the Dutch water sector has set up a program of partnerships. And in that program, there are now more than 50 utilities involved, and I'm working with Ghana Water. And it's no surprise that I actually know Ghana Water as well, Richard, as well as Tom Nuring, because both of them have been very active and making partners. Water has 3 water operating partnerships at the moment, of which one with the Netherlands, one with Denmark, and it's actually also doing a water partnership it leads with in Sierra Leone. Now, Denmark is, as I said, very active in partnerships. So they actually approached Waterworks to see if they can work together. So that is a lesson, I think, until people come to you, you come to them. Now, and I think the partnerships create many opportunities. One of them is, the reason why I have to apologize that I'm online, is because of the partnership in with Ghana Water. I am now in Kenya, whereby a proposal of Ghana Water with support of Waterworks has gained $7.5 million worth of funding. Now, we have another proposal where we teamed up with the Danish Aarhus Fund and Ghana Water. Has Ghana Water gained access to 800,000 funding? Now, why am I mentioning this? Because the Climate Action Window has just launched its 3rd Climate Action Window, which is on technical assistance, which 300,000 to $1.3 million is available, and that could be something that you as members of the Ghana Geospatial Society could try to get or to tap into. So partnerships really helps to find people that have competences, resources that you don't have, so that you can achieve your goals together.
Thank you very much, Crane, for giving us insight into those areas. I'm now coming back to those here physically present, and I'm coming to Richard. Richard, we've heard a lot about the partnership journey between Denmark and the Netherlands, and then they dovetailed into the water, but then you are a patron of Ghana's Geospatial Society. Now, we here are your children, as you can see us, right? Plenty children. And now we have been dreaming, and we are asking that what are the main operational challenges at Ghana Water Limited that will be addressed through partnerships with geospatial experts? Our people are very interested in where you work.
Mr. President, thank you very much, and Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the late arrival. I guess I lost my coordinate, and I should be attending more of the geospatial meetings so that my XYZ will have an influence on my T, which is the time. So I missed the fourth dimension. That's why I got here a bit late. So pardon me. Thank you for your question. Ghana Water, we cannot function apart from the very basic product we supply, which is water, without location. Location is everything for us. So right from where we extract the water, the rivers, the streams, groundwater, all of them, they are all defined by X, Y, Z. The height is one of the biggest influence on how our energy computation comes in. So the level of energy requirement is the Z. So if we have a higher place, we don't need pumping, so we supply water by gravity. And then the location of our treatment plant, pipelines, to the point where customers take water. It's all location throughout. So a series of links and nodes are all defined by X, Y, Z. And then the customer, where every customer is, whether the person is a domestic customer, whether the person is running a factory or school, it's all defined by location. So the term geospatial resonates practically through the entire value chain of our company. To get the water and treat it to get to a customer's house requires geospatial. To get our money requires geospatial. Because of that, I think the company's founding also had a direct correlation with hard copy maps. But from the time that the company was founded, which is over 100 years ago, up to today, the use of maps in terms of paper maps, and it's relevant for the world in which we live in today, has changed so much that we are driven to the point where training by academia in geospatial technology, and then the direction by practitioners in the industry in geospatial practice across the world, all of them have influence on how we work as a utility. So the reason why I am being a bit off with the question is to try to draw in the relevance of the society as you have it to our operation as a water utility. So XYZ defines everything. Now, coming back to us, as a company, we decided to embark on a very strong journey about 20 years ago. 20 years ago, we realized that we didn't have a very strong control over our asset location, how we made meaningful analysis of the data we had for hydraulics and all of that. So we invested a lot of money in the acquisition of geospatial technology. As I speak today, I do not think there's any public service institution in Ghana that has the size of geospatial department that we have in Ghana Water Company. No one. There's no company in this country in terms of investment, human resource, and size. There's none. And I say this with great equivocation. Ghana Water Company has made so much investment in acquisition of geospatial technology. And also for you, the practitioners, when we started this, I was the only staff of the department. That was 20 years ago. You were employed, you were a geospatial staff, Mr. Jukunu here. I can see a lot of my people around. And across every region in Ghana, we've got human resource capital from the field of geospatial technology in Ghana Water Company. So in terms of how our work currently in operational challenges reflect the need for geospatial technology, based on what I've already said, it's like having a football team without football players. There's no way. So without it, we as a company, we cannot function. So every challenge we face in this country that is known, I do not want to reiterate the problems that we face as a utility in terms of operational challenges, right from the rivers. Our rivers have been polluted by illegal mining. Illegal mining activities are things that have been written so much about in our media. So I'm sure you know, with geospatial technology, boundaries and riparian buffer zones for rivers will be respected. People will not encroach on river bodies knowing that they do not have the right access to go there. When you go to Weja, which is right here in the capital city, once you go to Weja, you will see people have built so much up to the point where even where the treatment plant is, people have encroached. With right knowledge and compliance of knowledge in geospatial technology, people will not behave this way, because once you have your property boundary demarcated, delineated, infrastructure delineated, people who are law-abiding would respect boundaries and would not move. But now, as a company that supplies water, we have moved beyond thinking about the basic rudiments of pumping and treatment and supplying water to now dealing with the effects of people building around our river bodies and where their domestic untreated water is now discharged into the water courses, increasing the cost of treatment, which is also affecting everybody in our society. We put in tools on the field to do proper monitoring, and the boundaries of this infrastructure are well defined, and in our society, people still encroach. So every part of our work, operational activity in the company requires the need of geospatial technology and geospatial professionals. And not only that, but as a country, we need people to be respectful of property boundaries so that they do not encroach into places where by law they are not supposed to be. And if they do that, most of our treatment plants, which is about 90 treatment plants scattered across the country from Wa to Elubo, will be protected. And once they are protected, all the buildings around, the contamination, the pollution, illegal mining, all that is happening will not happen. And if they don't happen, that will substantially reduce the cost of our treatment, and people of this country will pay less for water, and collectively will move towards achieving the goals of the Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Richard, for taking us through the timelines of how geospatial technology entered into the utility, and then some of the areas that we could apply the geospatial technology. I would want to go to Crane if I come to His Excellency. So Crane, what opportunities have arisen for companies like Tencent and RHDHV through their involvement with Waterworks? I know these companies might have used some geospatial technologies in their engagement with you, and can you enlighten us a little bit more on this area?
All right, yeah, thank you. Yes, although Waterworks is a water operating partnership, so we are expert in water, we're not expert in everything. And one thing that we can improve or that we don't have is a lot of geospatial knowledge. So when we entered in a partnership, there was a company, Tenzing in the Netherlands, that dealt as a consultancy for geospatial consultancy firm a lot with the Dutch water sector, said, hey, we want a corporate social responsibility program together with Waterworks and Ghana Water. Now for them, it was the first time they were active through that partnership on the African market. Now to my surprise, when we renewed our partnership a year later, they already used that expertise that they built up in Ghana to successfully tender for a project in Ivory Coast, and now they tender for a new project in Mali. So you can see that partnerships can be a gateway for new opportunities. Now, similar is for other consultancy firms such as Royal Haskoning, the HV, that one of the pillars of the Waterworks program is to assist our partners in investment mobilization. When to do that, a feasibility study needs to be done. Now, if you have been able to successfully obtain feasibility study funding, then companies like Royal Haskoning, DHV, or PEM Consult from Denmark have the opportunity to gain business from that. So it's sometimes a ripple effect that you can cause. And one thing that you already mentioned is the partnership that we have with Ghana Geospatial Society and the University of Energy and Natural Resources, because we didn't have much knowledge about drones. So by partnering with other institutions and bodies like the Ghana Geospatial Society, you can bring in that knowledge within your partnership, and that can be a mutual beneficial, or is mostly a mutual beneficial arrangement.
Thank you very much, Crime, for that. I would want to come to His Excellency now. My people have been listening to you now, and then they are eager to get some advice from you on how to expand their businesses internationally in this issue of partnerships, because they have seen one of our members partnering one organization from Denmark, and the rest are also itching to see what is in this for us as well.
Well, maybe a difficult question. What to do? I'm about to say something that will probably be disillusioning immediately, and that is you should stop so much dreaming and be a little more practical. But I don't really mean that. I actually mean that what I have seen over the time I've been here in Ghana is a lot of young people, especially, coming out with great ideas, innovation and creativity. There is actually a very solid base of human resources in Ghana to take ideas further. I could say, but I might get in trouble with the government, that I don't think always the government has been very good at taking these ideas and supporting them so that they can be modulated into practical ideas that can actually work in the real world. What I mean by that is that we all know that startups, this is what young people want to do, and they have great ideas. And we also know that startups very often will not succeed. That is global. It's everywhere. I think there's some kind of a rule of thumb that says that out of 100 startups, only less than 10 will ever make it, or that if you are a startup, you should try again and again and again before you succeed. But what I think lacks a little bit in Ghana, and I would just urge those that have the influence to also talk to those who have the opportunities to change things, maybe on the 7th of December, but that's up to you. But get more focus on having this environment that is conducive for young startups. All these ideas are there. Also, something that I've seen is happening in Ghana, but needs a lot more help to move on, is digitalization, IT. You have a very, very strong knowledge base, and there are many people who have ideas. But if that is strengthened further, then you have an avenue, or a highway maybe even, for some of these startups to move faster. And you need to do that to be able to come out there in on the bigger stage and find partners outside of Ghana. When it comes to that, and then I will focus a little bit on Denmark, you have to understand the partners that you want to work with. And there are cultural differences. Sometimes they may not seem that large, but they are often. And I think you have to work with that consciously if you want to globalize. You cannot just bring an idea out there and think everybody's going to buy it the same pace you bring it in or the same way you bring it in. You need to be conscious of those you bring it to. And if I take those who might say something seems to be happening in Denmark that I could match my ideas with and partner up with, then I would say two things you have to be really, really clear about, and that is that Danish companies, they are built on trust and integrity. Those are very big words, and you can just say, oh, we all do that, and we trust, but this is a real thing. When you work with a Danish company, you know that you're working with a company that will deliver on time and as agreed. You can trust that. You need to match that. That's very important. Likewise, when I talk to Danish companies, I also have to tell them that they have to, if they want to be active in Ghana, they have to have a look at their own mindset and find out what is it we need to focus on to be able to make it. Because we're very impatient. And maybe Crime will be sitting there and say, I can recognize that from the Netherlands as well, that Dutch business people and others are not very patient either. It has to happen now. And we're very used to quick look at the internet, we browse, we Google, we know what we're looking for, we need a sub-delivery to our company. We basically size out 3 companies that can deliver that, and then we take them in and have a chat with them, maybe not even physically, just give them a call. And then we say, okay, these guys are good on delivering on time, these have good after service, these are probably a little better at paying on time, and what is it we want? And we make a choice, move on, very quick. You cannot, as a Danish company, grab the phone and call somebody in Ghana and start building up a partnership, a commercial partnership like that. You have to give it time. It takes patience. You have to invest, and this is what we say to Danish companies, they have to invest time, energy, and their own personnel resources. Then they will build up good partnerships in Ghana. But I think the key thing is back to what I talked a lot at length about before, is at the end of the day building up good, strong partnerships. So that would be my advice to really do that. And then, I mean, you already have there with the innovation and creativity, and then knowing that even small companies can go on the move and grow. And what I've seen is some of the biggest companies in Denmark started out of small innovation. If you look at the toy factory Lego, some of you might have played with Lego. It's now, if not the biggest, one of the biggest toy companies in the world. It started out as a very, very small company. Grundfos, that Richard knows a little bit about from the waterworks, right? From all what you've done there, the pumps, or Novo Nordisk from the pharmaceutical, one of the key companies when it comes to treating diabetes. All of them started small and are now global companies. But I will tell you one thing, they still base their company values on trust and integrity. So if you want to play with Danish companies, you have to have that in mind and make sure that you push in that direction and you convince them that you're also trustworthy and you also have integrity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. So,
May
Richard,
I quickly chip in there? Unfortunately, like you probably noticed that when Tom Nuring said he's on that time important, he's probably, I noticed from the Danish, they're always not on time. They're actually 2 to 5 minutes early. But in the Netherlands, we also have something like agreement is agreement, and I actually have another appointment in 2 minutes, so I'll have to excuse myself, unfortunately, to meet that agreement.
okay.
So that's some culture. My apologies.
Okay. Even though we'll miss you, but we'll grant you that permission. Thank you very much, Crying. So I would go back to Richard. You told us about the people you recruited into Ghana Water, including me. I'm here with you here. Now, these other people who may not get the opportunity to come and be in Ghana Water like us are also thinking. They said I should ask, how can they contribute to achieving operational excellence within our organization?
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, the world is changing, and it's changing so fast. When I joined Ghana Water Company, there was no geospatial department. I created it. It's one person. I started a department and I started recruiting all of them. Now, I don't know how many of them are in the company. How many? You are over 50. 50 geospatial, geomatic engineers from tech. So we've tried. 50, how many people do you have in the embassy as employees?
Just over 30.
So you see, Ghana Water alone has employed the number of geospatial personnel we have is more than the staff of the embassy. So we've tried. That's why I said the whole country, we are the biggest in terms of geospatial department, human resource, and tools. And we made a lot of investment. Now, your question is about the future. But you see, you cannot really move to the future without the past. I was telling you when I joined the company, I remember when I was in the university, we used to study field astronomy. We're using stars to measure location. Tom, stars. I'm not sure the university teaches astronomy, field astronomy anymore now. You still do it? Well, the world has moved and is really moving so fast. I did computer programming without seeing a computer. I never touched computer. Every coding I learned was written by hand. Fortran 77. There was no Google map. There was no Google map. If you wanted to create a map, you either do proper surveying or you use area photography. So when I started work, we had a private aircraft with an onboard camera. We used to take the photographs, then we send them to the photogrammetric lab and run process to generate autophotos. And then from autophotos, go through all the process to get maps to work with. ArcGIS 3.2 always had segmentation violation. I'm sure a lot of people will not know. When you move file from one folder to another, the software wasn't working. So the world has moved so fast and so far from where I started to where we are right now. Artificial intelligence is here and is here to stay. As I speak to you today, the world is generating knowledge at speed and at rates that we were not generating before. First, it took about 50 years to sequence proper DNA structure. Now it takes hours. We, as a utility, the problems we face and the challenges we face require two major things. One, I think Tom spoke about values. For me, values are so important. the values that I hold very dear. One, excellence. If you really want to find your way into a proper, well-defining job stream, you need to have your own set of values, and it should drive your whole purpose in life. Excellence is number one. Honesty is number two. Hard work, number three. If you have these three values as personal core values as a human being, it will really help you in your path. Because if you have honesty, it has a correlation with integrity. And it's a resource that is very scarce in the world in which we are right now. People who are honest. So that is on core values. In terms of the professional trajectory, the process I explained now could be generated by an AI model in seconds. Once you get an image, AI would generate close to 99.7% accuracy interpretation of the image within seconds. And now, within the next 5 years, we are going to get to the point of what we call AGI. AGI is the point where now the computers have the same level of intelligence as humans. They will be doing things on their own, program on their own, think on their own. It's now you have to give them prompt. At AGI point, the computers would figure out things without the need for humans. And it's even going to get scarier when we get to the point called singularity. That's when machine intelligence surpasses human intelligence. So there are going to be a lot of work that we will not use humans for anymore. In my company right now, we deploy a lot of drones. I don't know if you spoke about it already. We've got a lot of drones. The work that an aircraft was doing with images and all of those things now is dated. We have drones doing things that humans were doing, capturing images at places that are inaccessible. We have computer models that are running simulations for water quality, the location of pipelines, and see how things could flow well. All these things are going to be overtaken by computer models. Once you have proper parameters and you give it to the AI will process this at a speed faster than human beings, and the level of biases that humans will have will all be eliminated. So if I were to be you, strategically, I would make sure that my training right now has some element of artificial intelligence embedded in it. Because if I'm planning the next recruitment cycle for new set of engineers, I want people who can code in Python. If you are a geomatic engineer or a geospatial person who is just wielding theodolite and then level instrument, you may not be able to work in my department because we're using computers. I sit in the US, and whatever is happening on the field in Ghana, I pick up my phone, I can see. Things are moving in real time. Cloud computing is also becoming in vogue right now because the more we are collecting data, the more we require space and speed. So your training beyond your core-based training will help accelerate you and fit you into various fields. Now, in terms of intelligence, in the field of intelligence, the US and other agencies have dedicated agencies called like Geospatial Intelligence Agency in the US. So you can go online and see what they do. Geospatial Intelligence Agency is an agency of the US that specializes in using maps for all decision making for intelligence, whether for your businesses, for your military, for navigation. We haven't gotten there yet. We don't have all the satellites, so we are still doing subscriptions. But in aerial intelligence, which is drones, geospatial intelligence, which requires location intelligence, and then artificial intelligence combined with your training will be something that we'll be looking out for, because we have so many challenges. Now, as an executive, I have key questions. My company is losing non-revenue water close to almost 50%. How can I employ people who have the capacity to use tools that we haven't even thought of to be able to solve problems? Tom was saying that he didn't like dreamers, but I like dreamers. I like people who dream. Dream with imagination, not dreaming to be getting what do you call aid, but dream with great imagination to solve problems that we can't think about today. Because when you have greater imaginative power, you become innovative, you become very creative. If I find someone who comes to me tomorrow and says, I have this system developed to solve your non-revenue water, I'll ask you how. Do you understand my system? How can you do this? If you're able to demonstrate to me that you'll be able to solve this problem, you have employment instantly without even going through interview. So you should move towards always looking at problems and then how to solve problems and how to create solutions. Once you're able to put yourself and reorient your mindset towards problem solving mindset, you are uniquely positioning yourself to getting jobs. And then if you're also looking to work in industry where you don't want to work as an employee of my utility, once you set up a company, this conference has been about partnerships. We started off with a lot of partnerships because we cannot employ everybody. We cannot buy every tool. One of our biggest support has been Denmark. We've had great support from Danish companies, from metering, from equipment, from pumps. And partnership is defined in different ways that at this point, if our unique limitation is maybe money, which is a problem for every country, you structure partnership in such a way that you will be able to get access to certain tools and have some means to be able to pay at a certain point in time so that you can still run. Tom and I have an excellent relationship beyond work. So without the partnership we have with Denmark, sometimes the water we treat, we may not be able to even supply to you because other chemicals will probably don't have money to pay. But they will give us the chemicals to be able to treat the water so that the people of Ghana will still get water to drink. And they will understand that once you collect the revenue, you'll be able to still pay. So that is the value of partnership, that you strike relationships that sometimes your limitations could be filled in by somebody's strength. And that gives you the chance and the lifeline to be able to persist and to also continue to run. So I think I'm speaking too much, but the advice I've given you will position you for work anywhere, not only in Ghana Water, anywhere in the world. Because some jobs are going to be taken, and they're going to be taken away very soon. When I was in the university, some professors didn't want us to use calculators, because they thought, it's not going to be helpful for your training. So calculating angles, you draw them and then calculate from first principle. It's sharpening my brain, but the point is that those of you who are in academia here, I entreat you to allow your student to use learning partners. Now, almost every great university in the world has assigned what we call personal tutors to students. So every student has a personal chat box where you ask questions. That's your personal tutor at home. I'm trying to solve this assignment. Can you guide me? So not to give you solutions, because then you don't train your mind, but how you have a teacher after work or after school, if you went to school and then you came home that you needed a private tutor. I'm trying to solve how to get from here to the Danish embassy. How do I get there with the most efficient means? Now, your learning tutor will give you that, okay, you could go through this place, you're going to meet this great lock. This great lock is going to take 30 minutes. There's another route here based on this traffic time, because people are using their phones. Phone data is captured in real time. So now it's completely knowing that this number of vehicles are at this point. So now change this route. If you do not let your students start using learning assistants, they are going to be 1,000 years behind because Tom said I just came back. I just came back from Harvard University right now, and every student in Harvard has a personal chat box. Everyone. And every professor entreats their students to learn how to send prompt. Because if you don't know how to write the proper prompt, you are not going to compete in this world. Because you see, it makes you efficient. It doesn't mean that you are not learning. The people who don't learn are the people who try to cheat the system. And I mean, those of us who come from here, we are very good at that. But that is not the proper way to learn. So I'm giving you advice, start learning. Everyone, whether you are in industry, whether you are home, try. ChatGPT has a free version you can use. Learn how to prompt. And the more you learn how to write prompts, you don't need computer programming to learn how to write prompt. Prompt is the skill in learning how to ask the right questions. If you learn how to ask the right questions in life, you can sit in any boardroom and everybody will listen to you. So download any LLM you can find right now and use it as personal assistant. Coming for this meeting, you should have prepared yourself, okay, what are the possible things I can get from such a meeting? It will tell you. So if you are asked to ask questions and you feel like you have certain questions that you need certain framework to refine your question, you can ask your personal tutor. It's your personal tutor. It only enhances the knowledge that you learn. So you need to. Kids in the US, everybody now has a bot that is their personal tutor, like how we pay for private tutors. So now people don't pay for teachers anymore. You need one because the next 2 years, 3 years, if you don't have it, you cannot compete. I was coming from the US. Nobody asked me to now show my passport, open my passport to show the page. You know how the airline tickets, you have to show, they'll check your face, they'll check your boarding pass before you leave the airport. Now, facial recognition software, as soon as you get there, it sees your face, your passport number, your seat number, your boarding pass information is captured. You just walk. This is where the world has gotten to. Because now, facial recognition has moved to a point where even how you walk, machine can capture and then be able to determine that this is you. If you want to be part of the players of the next year, the next 5 years, as I said, in the next 2 to 3 years, we are going to get to the point of artificial general intelligence. And at that point, machines and us are at the same level. So, you don't need computers. You don't have to write prompt. They'll sit down there, they'll figure out things, and they'll do it. At that point, if you are not at certain level, you are out of job. I don't need somebody to come and tell me that, okay, the distance from a pipeline from here to Circle is 200 kilometers. As soon as I ask my bot, because the base data is already there, it will tell you within seconds. So I think I've said enough. This advice I've given you first is on the values: honesty, hard work, excellence. These are things that they don't teach us here in schools in Ghana. You need to pick them up. If you are hardworking, if you focus on excellence as a value, and you have honesty in part of your core values, it will position you to any potential employer anywhere in the world where you sit on the table that you have integrity. If you have artificial intelligence as part of your toolkits right now, no matter your background, you would be more efficient than anybody you compete with in any interview process. And as I said, please do not cheat. Use it as an assistant to guide you to learn. If you have research questions, you determine that, okay, I want to do a PhD in this field. I have my broad question here. Sub-questions, these are what I think of. You can ask LM, am I thinking rightly? Will my question generate the necessary hypothesis for me to be able to develop further? So you don't go and cheat. As I said, it helps you to learn. The earlier you start learning how to write prompts, the better you'll be positioned to get jobs. Now, we will not employ people without these skills. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Appiah is moving us towards a singularity model. Right now, we are struggling to get AI. We'll get there very soon. Honorable, Your Excellency, I think I would want to move a little bit to pull someone to assist us in this question. Even though the question is directed at you, I want to now move to the audience. I'll pinpoint one person. The person will come up and help us answer the question to support you. So we know that we had the LE34, that company is working here very well. They gave us one CPD. We enjoyed the CPD very well as well. And they are working with one of our colleagues who are here. We want to know a little bit about the success story of the LE34 since they started the journey with us. I wanted to ask you the question, but I think that is more technical. So maybe you can start, but then when you are getting to the technical area, please call Dr. Nadidi to come up.
I can assure you I will never get to the technical area. I leave to those who are much more well equipped to do that. But the LE34 is actually a very nice story of a fairly large Danish company in its field, but has worked mostly in Denmark and the Nordic countries. But they somehow saw an opportunity in 2017 to join when there was a business delegation accompanying the Danish head of state, the Queen, who came to Ghana in 2017. They were part of that delegation, I think. They were not, okay, then they came later. But anyway, they were not really a company that was out there in the world. They had not done, the Nordic countries, but we see that almost as our home market. And then they were a fit, so to speak, for the strategic sector cooperation that I talked about earlier, where they were able to fit in with the technology that could be used by the Ghanaian partners in Tema and in Ghana Water to detect water losses. And so that was in a way a strong contributor, as I said, getting experts to come, in this case not from the Danish water utility, but from the private sector to contribute with a pilot project for what we were doing together with our Ghanaian friends. Having now shown their value here, proven their value here, but also gotten some appetite, they now are engaging in a more commercial activity here in Ghana, and that's where also our embassy takes over in another part. So we go from our strategic sector cooperation, which is authority to authority working together, and we're bringing this company in as part of what we do on the commercial side with our trade team, trying to assist them in getting a foothold in Ghana in a broader sense. So I think that's what I will say, but it's a nice little success story, I believe, and it's also for us a story that tells us that the way we are working, we can't do everything, that's obvious, but the little steps we take and the little focus areas that we have actually mean something, both to those who use the technology now here in Ghana, and also to Danish companies that get a chance to go abroad and not just function in our own area.
Thank you very much. Dr. Na, do you want to add something? Then probably you could touch on that. Before I get to Dr. Piao to run up with my, yes, so I'm just wrapping up everything.
Okay, so I think I would enlighten them on what we are doing with you currently. They have a number of tools, and I will talk about the point view and the smart survey. And so I think early or last month we had a training where we did data collection, and just so that you know a bit about smart survey and point view. So smart survey is a software, like an app that you can use your phone, your smartphone, and turn it into a 3D scanner. And it plays the role of the drone, and it does photogrammetric processing. So basically you are on the field and you are so busy, you are able to use your phone to just capture any infrastructure, and then it uploads. Now, by the time you get into the office, it's already processed. You have your point cloud, and you can now do some measurements on it. You're able to calculate your angles. You're able to calculate area, 3D asset management. And also, you should look at something like Ghana Water. Sometimes you want to look at the condition of your assets. So condition as management, you can look at the before and after situation. If you had to do some work, or you had opened your, there's a tunnel and you've opened it, you want to capture it, so the next time you will be able to make measurements without the need to open a very wide area. So that's more about smart survey, turning your phone into a 3D scanner. Now, once you are done with that, there's another software called the Point View. Point View is basically going to manage your point cloud. One of the major issues we've always had as surveyors is that we collect so much data, and sometimes the volumes are such that we cannot even use it because it's so much. With Point View, you are able to load your point cloud, and you are able to just concentrate on a very small portion within a very short time. It has a very good functionality that it allows you to just copy a small portion and share it. And within a short time, you're able to work with it at ease. One of the things that these softwares can do for Ghana Water or any asset management company is that often you have all maybe underground pipes, and there's another utility company who wants to dig. If you know that they want to dig at point A or within a certain area, you can share your assets with them. You can let them know where your pipes are so that they don't have to cut into your pipes. So these are some of the things Point View and Smart Survey can do. So far, we've done some work. Today we have a meeting with Electricity Company of Ghana in the evening. And we're also in touch with VRA and other companies. Now, hopefully next year, through Ghana Geospatial, students in the various universities are going to be trained on how to use Smart Survey and Point View, so that in future it will just become like ArcGIS, which started mostly from the universities, and then companies started using it. So that's more about Smart Survey and Point View for asset management.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nadede. I know that we are itching to ask questions, but yes, so now I will change the way we ask questions. I can throw the questions, but I'm allowed to do that as well. Then you can also ask questions to the panel, right? So Dr. Nadede just gave some description of the Point View and Smart Survey and point cloud and photogrammetry and all of that. All of this coming in 3D view. I was thinking about how we do valuation of properties, buildings, and all of that. And now you can take a picture or a video, and I can see the building in 3D view. So I'm just throwing the question, not to the panel, but now to some of my people who are here. My chairman is here. He's into valuation area, and I'm just trying to test your pulse. How do you see this tool within the valuation space? The geospatial tool, she's saying you take video of it, and then you should be able to take measurements. She says you can scale it, so you can take measurements on it, you can calculate the value of the property probably. I'm just thinking aloud. So what is your take on that as well? This is take and take discussion.
Talking about AI and valuations, I did some valuation on the first building. The facade was quite not known. I couldn't describe it well. So what I did, I took pictures and put it in ChatGPT, and it gave me the description. So that was quite easy to then put it in the valuation report and come out with my values. So I would like to side with what Dr. said with respect to taking advantage of these upcoming technologies to ensure that you upgrade yourself and become, what do you call it, industry ready and ready to deliver. By talking about partnership, the project was in water sector, but water is on land. So I'm wondering how this partnership can be extended to the land sector. I'm coming from the Lands Commission, so to what extent can this partnership be extended to the land sector so that at the end of the day, if we have our land administration right, water can also become more available, and in these galamsey issues may be abated, and then we can move forward. So I don't know how we can extend that partnership to the land sector.
So I think the question is to all of us here, and then to Dr. Na. You are the rep for the LE34, and then he is also into evaluation, and we are talking about partnership. Can the two of you talk? Does it look like things you can talk about? Can you build partnerships?
So maybe just after the meeting, I'll reach out to him, but we've already reached out to, one of them, the name has just, I can't remember the name, but we are already in touch, and we are hoping to do a demonstration with them. In terms of valuation, what I'm looking at is, because it behaves like a photogrammetric tool, virtually you are going to use your phone, capture videos, and we all know that videos are a collection of pictures just in motion. And so what it does is that it extracts the videos, it extracts it into images, and it does photogrammetry at the background. Now, with valuation, it means that you are bringing the building to your office and valuing it. It can give you the photorealistic model, you can measure, it is true to scale, and there is evidence. Your client can also measure. So then there's this kind of trust. You are not doing something somewhere and giving some values, but it can be verified. So I think it's something we should push for.
So His Excellency probably can address the other question he asked. Putting the pipelines on land, the land also wants to see how they can benefit from partnership.
Well, that puts me in a little more difficult situation because that, of course, we would like to have partnerships anywhere and everywhere, but we also have limitations as to the resources, in our case, at the embassy and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. As I told in the beginning, we have phased out our development aid. That means it's a different set of rules that we play by today. We have limited resources at the embassy to work, and that also means personnel and resources. Of course, anything is possible, but I think maybe some of some of the learnings that are coming out of one sector corporation here can be transferred without necessarily building up a new partnership. Having said that, I can also say that right now we have, as I mentioned in the beginning, we have 4 different sector corporations on water, on maritime, on statistics, and meteorology. And we have found within that some synergies in itself that we decided to work with. So for instance, let's say a 5th cooperation partner has come out of it, which is the Ghana EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, because each and every one of the others were working with EPA And there were angles where they were working on issues that were exactly what we were working with. So today we actually have a very close fifth leg on our four-leg sector cooperation, and that is EPA. So everything is possible.
Thank you very much. So His Excellency said everything is possible. So I'm sure you can. Everything is possible. So you can look at. Yes, you can look at how to exploit the everything of that possibility. Yes, and then I think the same question goes to Dr. Appiah-Otu as well. So how can the land sector also work with the water sector in partnerships? You said we have advanced so much, probably they've not reached where we are. How can we build some partnerships in any ways that can bring all of us some benefits?
Thank you. From my initial start, I think I laid a very clear foundation for our very existence being on the land, and then the boundaries as defined by the land are the reasons why we are able to function the way we function, and then the challenges we also face are also related to the land. In recognizing that particular problem, we set up what we call the Lands and Estate Department. So we have also set up a Lands and Estate Department, which is different from the Geospatial Information System Department in the company, to focus on rights, issues, land, boundaries, everything related to our property boundaries, the valuation, the titles, and the renegotiation of old expired deeds and all of those things. So that has been done in terms of functional and an institutional arrangement in the company. And it's also staffed with people to deal with how our company relates to lands and stuff. So they focus on land, so they work with surveyors, quantity surveyors, land valuation, land surveyors, and like all gamut of people within the space of land management. So that is done as we speak, because we recognize that is of very high value to us as a utility. So not just the water supply, but without that, we tend to have problems, because now if you look at our legal department, we have been overwhelmed by so many cases of people encroaching, and then we encroaching, and then we also breaking somebody's pipes, breaking somebody's wall. All of these things are related to lands, and then so it's been back and forth. We be in court, doing out-of-court settlement, and because of that, that's why we took the proactive measure to now set up the Lands and Estate Department in the company to solely look at issues related to land. I hope I have answered the question, or that wasn't the question?
Yes, you have answered partly, so maybe you want to see if we are going to have some form of MOUs between us that we can learn from each other as well.
No, I think that is already in vogue. There are a series of memorandum of understanding between different partners.
Yes.
And I don't know which companies that are selected to work for which activity, but all of it follows the procurement law, that if there's this activity to happen on this particular part of land, the job description is clearly laid out, and then if it's broken into lots, we go through the procurement law to select which firm gets what to do what for the company. So we'll continue to engage with Lands Commission, especially because since we are a quasi-government institution, we get that support from that side, and then also the private sector who have the experience and expertise to be able to deal with issues related to our land administration and our property rights. And we'll still continue, because as population is increasing, as a utility, we need to expand. For instance, we're also working with the Danes on Aveime project. What that requires is that when we have to do such a project, we need to do land acquisition. And the process we have to go through, the land acquisition process, and all of that is still done in concert with the Lands Commission.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would want to take, I think, just 3 questions. from the floor so that we close this session? 1. Is there any other person? I want to count 3, otherwise I'll take the 1. 1. Any other person? Any other hand, please? So that means you have only 1 hand. So please, you can please come forward and then ask your question.
Hello, good afternoon. Dr. Richard, you made mention or made reference to the Weija Dam where people have encroached, they've been built along the dam. And that has really increased the cost of production because most of their waste goes into the water. And that brings burden upon the citizens. You know, the planning or special planning, they're supposed to give building comments, our planning comments, where people are supposed to build and where they are not supposed to build. So since we are discussing about partnership, is there a partnership between the water company and then the LUSPA to make sure that people do not encroach and that they do not give the permit? Perhaps people do not have permit and yet they've gone ahead to build. What conscious effort is the water company doing? Because about a year ago when the Weija Dam was overflowing, we know the mess it created. Are there conscious effort? Whether the people have permit or not, what is water company doing in making sure that people do not go going forward? So that will be for you, and then...
I think you use some abbreviation. Or what yes, you should, every time, I don't know it, what is that?
Okay, so the Land Use and Special Authority, the Planning Authority, yeah.
Ah, okay. See, so next time when you ask a question and there's an abbreviation, you don't assume that the person you're asking knows the meaning.
And then, Your Excellency, you also said that you are about 5.8 million people, and I stand to be corrected that you have very little natural resources. So what you had was is the people, to try to develop the people. Ghana is about more than 30 million people, and fortunately for us, we have a lot of natural resources that we can boast of, but like you rightly made mention of, the youth here have the basis, and yet they are not getting the needed support that they can. Since you don't want to go into more technical, I would want to limit my question to the partnership we have with the Danish government or your embassy. It seems your partnership has been with Ghana Water and Danish. Are there any specific partnership between our society, GGS here, not specifically with Ghana Water, but any conscious or specific benefits we stand to gain by partnership with? Because you said Ghana is going from beyond to 8, so now you are doing that in a form of a trading. If I heard you right, Ghana going beyond 8, but you are doing that in the form of trading. So trading has to do perhaps barter trading. You give me, I give you. So are there specific benefits or sort of conscious? I don't know how to put it. I mean, are there? Yes, where we can have a win-win situation between the GGS and the embassy. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And there I probably have to be quite brief and not necessarily say what you would like to hear. No, I don't think that's in the cards. I mean, the whole idea is that if you are not a development aid embassy, then you do not have the resources. And that is not only the money resources, but it is also the physical resources, the number of people to be able to engage. So there's nothing that is excluded in this world, of course, but I don't see a specific partnership being built up between the embassy and GSS, but there will be affiliated benefits nevertheless, as we have been talking about today, where there are relations, for instance, between what we've been doing on the water side, and we are looking at that here today. It could also have been maritime if we had been in a different part of society here, we would have been talking about peace and stability and maritime threats, things that we are dealing with. We could have been talking about the threats of terrorism spillover from the north into Ghana, also an area where we are engaged. So it's not like, just to say, it's not like we have no other areas of engagement and partnerships with Ghana. We have a very close relationship with Ghana Navy, a very close relationship with Ghana Special Forces when it comes to dealing with the issues up north that are threatening directly or indirectly. We are working very closely with also the United Nations in the north, dealing with early warning and resilience on the civilian side, not military. So there's a lot of other areas that we are definitely involved in. I'm just mentioning this because here today it was mostly related to water, but we're not going to mushroom that we don't have the resources to do. I understand the question, and I also often hear the question, but we don't want money, but could we maybe have a training program? Well, if you build up a big training program, that's 50 million or something, or 20 million, that is money. It is money if we ask 20 people, experts, to come to Ghana 4 times a year. That runs into the millions, so that is money. So we do not have those resources. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me just add up to what he just said. As to whether there is some partnership between the Danish Embassy and Ghana and then Ghana Geospatial. Directly, no. Indirectly, yes. So we spoke about the LE34. We have signed an MOU with them. She did touch on a bit of it that says that we are going to train all our student chapters on the LE34 tools. There's another aspect that would help the lecturers on the campuses as well to be able to use the tool for research. There is one aspect of it that is to help us to use it for not-for-profit projects that we use to for some communities that may be needy. So we would have to be able to define those very well to be able to exploit those portions of that MOU. The tool is there. We are not to use it for commercial gain, but then to help some communities that may need it. So those aspects are there, yes, that MOU is there. There will be some trainings for even the Ghana Geospatial Society members. So we may not directly need to have an MOU or partnership with them, but through them, we can have some partnerships with those other companies that come. So yes, there's something that we are already benefiting, and it's good I highlight that. Thank you. Richard.
I'm supposed to answer a question in relation to WEJA. Yes. You mentioned land use plan and why people do not adhere to the plans as designed. The problem of WEJA goes beyond the planning. It's more of bad attitude of some people of this country. Almost everyone who has property in the dam zone has no building permit. None. I'm not saying this in abstract. Personally, I have been on the field myself. I was on the field with the Metropolitan Chief Executive who just passed for WEJA area. All the people who have encroached, none has the permit to build around WEJA. And what you see when we open the dams is actually a tip of the iceberg, because the danger is that people who keep building around it are now forcing a lot of silt into the dam way. If you do the engineering, see, when you build a dam, there are different ways of dam collapse. If the loading on the dam gets to a point where the dam can no longer bear, it's going to tilt. If it tilts and it falls, what you see in the news is just a joke. From WEJA to Kolebu, everybody's going to go into the sea. That is the danger. And this has been made clear to everybody that matters in this country that if the people who have encroached on Weija, we do not stop them, the picture I've just painted, from the Weija place up to Korle Bu, the road is gone, so now there won't be a road linking Accra to Central and Western region. Down Suman up to Korle Bu, everybody's going to the sea. Every year we open only 6 feet, just 6 inches of the dam. And when we open just 6 inches, that's what you see flooded and it's killing people. So imagine the whole dam going down. We've talked about this many times. People do not just respect land rights and land use area. I mean, we even went 10 years back, we got funding from the UN Habitat Agency to plant trees. I was also part of that project. We planted a lot of trees around our buffer zone. People are going to cut all the trees, and they've built there. And these are done by Ghanaians. Our own people, fellow Ghanaians, are the ones creating the problems. If we don't change our attitude, we are in this vicious cycle and things will just keep getting worse. Because if you go back to your village 10 years ago or 20 years ago, the turbidity of the water was so good, you could fetch water with your hands and drink. Now you can't find not one water body in Ghana that you can fetch and drink and not get sick. And these are creation of attitude, bad attitude of our own people. So if we do not change our character and we keep destroying this, it's a negative spiral. It's going to continue. And then you see the danger, which sometimes we don't talk about, is that the untreated effluent that ends up in the waterways, some of them people are using hormonal pills in their homes. People are using medicines for their bodies that when they pee, it comes out. All of them are getting into the water bodies. Maybe the people in academia, someone should just take a research into endocrine disruptors. Endocrine disruptors in water body, and test and see. And then now let's also find a correlation with that and some rise in certain diseases. I can only talk about correlation here because if we don't do serious research to find other co-founding variables, we cannot determine what is causing all of these things. So these are what our attitude, our bad attitude is creating. And this, you don't need partners, you don't need developing partners to tell you that do not build on lands that have been reserved for water bodies. You don't need money, you don't need, all you need is some discipline and respect for the laws of the country. And the agency you set up, Town and Country Planning, that was the former name. I think that name was easier to understand because it's once you know it, you know what it meant. But now the new title, we are moving to arenas where things are very difficult. Once you say Town and Country Planning, you know what it means. Back then, we used to have the people, the sanitary inspectors used to come home to Dankers to check our sanitation. Or, you see, once you hear the name, you know. I know, is it onomatopoeia or whatever it is? Some words, once you hear the pronunciation of the words, you know what the words mean. And now, we've changed with all these fancy names. When you mention it, we don't even know what they mean until you go and try and find out what they do. But, as I said, unless we change, politicians cannot do much. Politicians, what they do, they just advance the will of the people using the constitution. But we must respect, we Ghanaians, we must do the right things first. If we don't fix these problems are not going to fix themselves, and we are going to continue getting worse. Now, you cannot find one water body in this country where you can drink and not get sick. Who caused them? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes. So thank you very much for this very engaging session. We were hoping it would have been 30 minutes, but I think we've enjoyed it beyond that 30 minutes. We've gone 1 hour, 30 something minutes. And you've stolen your time. And you've enjoyed it being with your members because it's a long time you spoke to us. So I think the members are very happy to have you here and they want me to thank you on their behalf. So please, let's give a round of applause for our panelists for today. Doc, I think you have something to tell them, and then we will just let.
Yeah, I believe this is the closing remarks of the chairman from the morning till now. So in the beginning, I think for the morning, there was a strong foundation that was laid by the keynote speaker and the guest of honor, and through their insights, we have been challenged to rethink the ways in which innovation and collaboration can unlock untapped potential in our communities and sectors. And the current panel discussion has also delved into the transformative power of partnership and collaboration. And there's some key takeaways that I pointed out was that partnerships are not just enablers, they are essential for overcoming resource constraints, fostering innovation, and ensuring sustainability. Secondly, collaboration across public and private and international stakeholders is critical to creating inclusive geospatial ecosystems. The knowledge sharing and capacity building remains key to addressing gaps in implementation and maximizing potentials of emerging geospatial technologies. And that the use of emerging technologies like AI presents incredible opportunities to optimize our geospatial data collection, analysis, and implementation. And I believe what Dr. just said, in honesty, integrity must remain at the core of what we do, because these principles build trust, transparency, and accountability, and they are very key in advancing partnership and achieving lasting impacts. On this note, I would like to thank our panelists for your expertise and thoughtful contributions, and it has enriched all of us, and we are well informed, and I hope we can take it on board in our future aspirations. As we conclude, let us carry forward the energy and insights from this opening day of the conference, and let us commit to fostering partnership and taking actionable steps to align with our shared vision of geospatial excellence for digital growth, fostering innovation and collaborations to unlock Ghana's potential. I would like to thank you all for participating and your engagement, and I wish you productive continuation of the conference tomorrow. Thank you, and have a very great conference. Thank you all.
Let me see them.
Shall we welcome him with an applause?
Sir, please be upstanding as you take the closing prayer. Everlasting King, we thank you and we bless you. We thank you for taking us through the first day of our conference. I thank you for the knowledge shared, and we ask that you will help us to put those things into practice, that Ghana will benefit from our expertise. We commit tomorrow's activities also into your care, that just as you helped us today, Lord, let it be unto us tomorrow also. As we live here, let your presence guide and take us home safely. In Jesus' mighty name we pray with thanksgiving. Amen.
Tomorrow, So there's a snack. The snack waiting for us. So please pass by and pick your snack. I don't even know. Hopefully, after the snack, we'll meet tomorrow at the usual time, 8 a.m. Thank you so much for coming.